Hello my darlings, how are we doing? Sorry I've been away for a while, and I will continue not to be around as much as I would like to be due to ongoing internet issues, and I will be trying to upload this video over the weekend, so let's hope. Now, as we know here in the UK, the Met Office have actually come out and said they have been cloud seeding our skies this year, which has added to the impact of a very wet year, which means that our crops, whether you're working as a farmer or trying to grow food at home, has meant that it's been very difficult to do so. There is now software where you can track where the aeroplanes go, and people have been finding the planes that are doing the cloud seeding. Yeah, that's great. Now, not to add more to that, I mean, like, here in this country we only produce 17% of our food anyway, which is not great, but we really need to be producing more of it, to be a little bit more independent. But we can't do that with the costs of everyone putting all of the prices up ridiculously, and it's mostly big companies that are doing this, that are pressurizing farmers because they, you know, to pay extra amounts of electric and all this kind of stuff to do what they do. I've just got this. Now, I love Suttons. I used to live near Suttons, down in Devon. I've had membership of their company for several years now, and I'm just going through the seed catalogue that arrived today. Now, normally, Sutton's seeds I'm really pleased to buy. But quite frankly, from page 1, we've got F1, F1, F1. F1 variety of seeds means that you can't save the seed and get the same product. Okay. Now, when it comes to the broad beans, we seem okay. Okay, so we've got okay with the breed, and with the broad beans we've got all ones that we can do. Same with the normal beans, they're all normal, that's great. Let's have a look. All of the beans are fantastic. That's awesome. We can do those because they don't have F1 written next to them. Then we get to the tomatoes. And out of these pages here, we've got F1, 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 F1. So more than 50% of the tomatoes on these two pages are F1 varieties, so you can't save the seeds from them. Then we go to the next one, and we've got F1, 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 F1. Again, more than 50% of the seeds are F1 varieties. Now, if you're a new gardener, tomatoes tend to be your gateway plant, gateway food plant to go in, you know. And to be able to make gardening worthwhile, you need to be able to save your seeds so that you've got enough for the next year. But this is the third page. F1, 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 F1. All of these are F1s, the blight resistant ones. I wouldn't buy crimson anything out of the blight resistant ones. I've never had one germinate. In the last 2 years I've spent £20 on seeds of crimson varieties, either crimson plum, crimson crush, crimson cherry, and none of them have germinated. Then we go into generalized veg seeds, and we've got the broccoli and the cauliflower, both F1s. The spinach is an F1 variety. that's not too bad. But then we've got things like beetroot, F1, 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 F1. 4 varieties, all for F1s. The aubergines, both F1s. I mean, the golden eye's not, that's been around since donkeys, but you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 of the broccoli types are all F1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the varieties are there are all F1s. I've never seen anything like it. Carrots again. F1, 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 F1. Then you get into your cauliflowers and courgettes. F1, 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 F1. There's only one there that's not an F1 variety in the courgettes. Zucchinis. Then we go here to the cucumbers, which is the other gateway vegetable in this country, right? So it's tomatoes and cucumbers. So if you've got greenhouse, you're sticking up tomatoes and cucumbers every year, right? F1, 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 F1. What is going on? And it keeps going. It keeps going like that. You know? Okay, so the lettuces aren't. The onions aren't. Oh, the leeks are. 2 of the leeks are. 3 of the leeks. Half the leeks are. A red and a... We've got 2 of the onions are. It boggles my mind that we have all of these varieties coming out that are F1 varieties that are £4 to £10 a packet for 6 to 10 seeds, and we're supposed to be encouraging people to grow food. Well, we have to make it worth their while. I had a neighbour who was actually in tears the other day because she's usually a good gardener, and she's just discovered that compost bought in the shops is, well, crap. Let's be honest. You know, Steve over at Digwell Greenfingers has shown us just how bad bagged compost here in the UK is. What we've discovered, myself and Tanny, is that if we buy compost each year, put it away for 2 years, it's actually usable at that point. But it has to be left in the bags for 2 years before it's even usable, because of the way that they're making it now. So between cloud seeding and creating a really bad climate for growing your own food, and seed companies now producing more F1 varieties than they are heirloom varieties, and charging 3, 4, 5 times as much for them, what chance do people have? Now this really does frustrate me, I'm not going to lie. And all I can say is this: if you don't have room for compost yourself, get yourself a bucket with your kitchen scraps, add some water, blitz it with an immersion blender, and use that and turn it over in the compost that you can get, okay? And put that in your pots if that's how you have to do it, okay? You leave your fermented mess in the bucket to ferment for a few days, so it becomes like a fermented thing, okay? It doesn't usually smell. It usually smells a bit like sauerkraut, if anything. but that adds in really essential nutrients. And if you're living in an apartment or somewhere where you're not allowed to have compost and all that kind of stuff, compost bins and stuff like that, that's your best option. Or find someone in the community that makes compost, because we do have one here in York. He's great. He's known as John the Compost around home. He collects kitchen scraps and green scraps from certain cafes and greengrocers, and he goes away and he puts them in his machine and he turns over compost, and then you can buy it from him for whatever you can afford to pay, which is great. Projects like that are really, really important to the communities, and we need to have more green spaces made available for people to grow their own food, because it's becoming ridiculous. And we need to have seed companies that are willing to work with us so that we can have heirloom varieties of seeds. Now, there are companies out there that can do that, but you need to look at heirloom companies and companies that you can trust. Now, here in the UK, we have ones like Real Seeds. They're great, fantastic. They have only heirloom seeds. I use a company called Budget Seeds from time to time. They have very, very cheap seeds, very few F1 varieties, but they give you like 10 to 20 in a packet for 49.50p at the time of filming this. And if you get them on special and when they have their offers on, well, you get them for even cheaper. So I buy like 100 packets of seeds at a time, and it only costs me like, 20 quid or something. And then I've got enough seeds for 2 or 3 years, depending on what I'm getting. So just do your research before you start planning on growing things. I have to admit, I'm really sorely disappointed with Sutton's this year. I think I'll be using one of the vouchers that I still have left to buy some onion sets, because I thought I might give that a go this year, just for the shits and giggles of it, just so that there's something in the ground over winter, and I can grow the onions in between the brassicas that I need to put out, and I'll be overwintering brassicas as well, so they can all go together without too much hassle. So I figured that was a good idea. But yeah, just keep an eye on what's going on. Try and buy heirloom varieties of seeds wherever you can. If it has F1 on it, you won't be able to save the seeds, because the seeds will revert back to the mother plant. Okay, they're not heirloom varieties at all. So see how we go. Take it really easy, guys. I will be back when I can be back. And until then, how about watching something else? Look, I've got 950 videos here. It's not like you're spoilt for choice or anything. There's other stuff you can be watching. And I'll see you very, very soon. I love you guys heaps. Bye.